Hi there, it's Nicole Spohr and welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be coloring white die cuts with Copic markers to customize them, featuring the Hero Arts Holiday 2021 release in a card showcase. I have 3 holiday cards featuring looking glass dies and a Halloween card, using more of like the lifestyle type of dies as well as other Halloween product. In addition, we are going to be featuring lots of bold print backgrounds. Hero Arts creates the most amazing background stamps. We are going to start with the Etched Winter Swirls bold print background. I am stamping this on a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch panel of Hero Arts Pebble cardstock. This is kind of a grayish taupe cardstock color. It is probably my all-time favorite Hero Arts cardstock. I am a huge fan of gray cardstocks for background. All of my backgrounds today are going to be stamped with a white pigment ink. I just grabbed the Simon Says Stamp white pigment ink here. Any white pigment ink you have will work. Hero Arts Unicorn white ink would be fantastic. I just have a cube right now and not the full-size pad, and so a big size pad makes inking up your background stamp so much easier. I am using the Stamper's Secret tool to get a nice impression the first time. Look how beautiful that white looks against the taupe background. Next, we have our Hero Arts Looking Glass Winter Forest. This was part of their pre-release here a couple of weeks ago that was out in their retail stores. It is probably one of the most popular designs from the release. It's got the cute deer, trees, and it just creates the most amazing background. In addition to the looking glass dies that I'm using right here, I'm also using square infinity dies from Hero Arts to create the frame. Now, we're not going to be creating a window on our card today. Instead, we're going to be creating this layered scene right on the front of our card design. I am going to kind of play around with my looking glass dies, a sentiment that I want to use, and kind of all of the things while I am die cutting. I like to kind of keep playing with it, laying it out, and seeing what else is needed. My whole goal for my cards today was to create a lot of layers and interest with these little mini scenes, at least for these first 3 cards. My Halloween card does not feature looking glass dies, but all the Christmas cards do. So this is the next frame. Now, you could die cut the looking glass and the infinity die at the same time. I did well, I actually did film it. I just cut it out, but I did that, and my infinity die was not exactly square, and it just didn't die cut great. So I ended up doing it separately, as I found that I got a much better cut that way. So I die cut the looking glass image first, and then I am die cutting the square. If you use plenty of repositionable tape, you probably wouldn't have that problem, and I probably could have done that, but time was of the essence here, and I needed everything to be die cut correctly. Now, I'm just using tweezers. You can use a piercing tool or something similar to poke out all of those little pieces. Even if you left all of the looking glass elements white, they look amazing. It's kind of more that silhouetted look. You could also die cut them each from a different color of solid cardstock, and that would be amazing. There are so many ways you can use these dies. I can't say enough that I am so thrilled that Hero Arts keeps bringing out more looking glass dies to add to their collection. I'm using 3 sets today. There are also several other sets that I didn't even get to. 2 more love or Valentine's themed sets, and then one that's peace, love, and joy, which obviously would be fantastic paired maybe even with some of these elements. You can use them in a lot of different ways. So here is my little scene. You can see we have our deer in the foreground, the trees, and then like the pine trees out in the distance. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit, and we are going to start coloring in each of these layers with our Copic markers. I'm using B00 and B000 as well as a blender just to give a hint of like a snowy border. I do not want this to be super blue, so that is why I only added a tiny bit. Then for the deer, I started with a lot of E40, 43, and 44. I will pull in more E47 as we go. You'll see me come back to this in a little bit and darken the deer, and that was because I really felt after I color in the next layer of kind of birch looking trees that I needed to darken the deer so it stands out more. He's a little light right now, but I am just trying to get a perfect blend for that cute image. So there's kind of how it's looking. I'm going to keep double checking. For the trees, they are mostly E40. Then I'm going to pull in a little E43, and then I did end up adding a little E44 just at kind of all those little notches in the tree to deepen and darken them. But that was my process. Now I have sped up the video quite a bit, but I will tell you all the Looking Glass cards coloring went really quickly. This is 4 complete cards in this video. That's why the video is long. I'm trying to show you all of the steps. I've also sped up the coloring so that it's still included, but we're not sitting here all day. Now the Halloween card has a lot of coloring. That card took the absolute longest out of all of them just because there were so many parts and pieces, and we'll talk about more of that in a little bit. Here's where I went back and added more color to the deer so that he definitely is a different color than our birch trees. Oh, I like that so much better. Okay, our pine trees out in the distance, that is going to be a green color combination, and I want them to have a bit of texture. Keep in mind, any of these dyes can be interchanged with some of them that you might already have to build completely different and new scenes. So I am adding YG97 to my trees. Then I'm pulling out that color a bit more with YG95 and then finishing with YG93. You'll notice I'm going to go over these a couple of times to make sure I'm filling in all of the white area that will show when we layer our Looking Glass elements together, as well as trying to get the most detail I can. I am not trying to overblend my pine tree look. I want there to be a little bit of that dimension. And I did have to go back in and fill in a little spot over there on the right side. I could see I hadn't pulled the color down quite enough. And much, much better. I filled all of that in. Our sentiment here is going to be from the brand new Merry Snowmen stamp set. This is a stamp set I want to use on a card here soon. I love snowmen. This has 3 adorable snowmen, a light post, snowflakes, and a tree, as well as 3 amazing sentiments. I'm using 2 of the sentiments today. The first one here is Season's Greetings. We're going to stamp that kind of where I think it's going to go here on my background using the embossing and watermark ink, and then I'm going to heat emboss my sentiment with Hero Art's gold embossing powder. So the embossing powder did not photograph great today. It kind of had a little bit of a glare. In real life, I think it looks so beautiful. Then you'll notice the sparkly snowflakes here over to the side. These are the brand new large snowflakes and swirls dies, and I die cut them from brand new Hero Arts glitter paper. There are 3 new glitter paper packs. This is the white and black pack. I'm not using the black, I'm using the white, but I love these. I think that the glitter paper, first of all, die cuts beautifully, and these snowflakes are gorgeous. I love them so much that I use the snowflakes and swirls on the first 2 cards. Now that we have our background, we are ready to put it all together. I want to start by putting adhesive on the back of each of my Looking Glass frames and assembling our little dimensional Looking Glass element. So I'm placing the deer on the birch trees and then those two on the pine trees. I am not going to have anything in the background of this particular looking glass. The next two will have a vellum backing to them, and I'll show you and talk a little bit more about that when we get there. I didn't feel like this one needed it much. It even looks beautiful as is with that swirling winter swirls background here. I wanted it to have a snowy feel, and I feel like the white pigment ink on the pebble cardstock provides that. But these big snowflakes in the background kind of just add an extra element of Christmas sparkle and fun, as well as filling in some space on our card. I like how it's the white on the white stamping on the pebble background or the taupe background. I think it's really, really pretty. I've layered the biggest one kind of back behind my looking glass scene. The swirls are going to come up in the right corner down to the bottom left corner, and then we're going to fill in with the remaining two snowflakes. I used all 5 dies from this large snowflake and swirls die collection. I didn't even cut them apart. I simply left them as is, die cut them with my white glitter cardstock, and then applied them to my card. Another thing I really love about this first card is that I think it has a little bit of a more masculine feel to it. I like that I know you guys are going to be shocked. I like that there's no red on this card. I think that it just gives a very earthy, kind of woodsy type of Christmas feel to this design that I absolutely love. I'm going to trim anything hanging off the edge of the card from the swirls or snowflakes off with my scissors. This is going to finish the panel. I will add a few little embellishments to finish off the card design and then adhere this to a white top fold card base. The embellishments I'm using today are Trinity Stamps Vanilla Sugar White Snowflakes. They are my favorite. They're teeny tiny white clay snowflakes that I absolutely love. And then I'm using the Lucy's Little Things matte gold stars. They are also my favorite gold stars. Little teeny tiny star confetti. The gold ties in nicely to the gold embossing of our sentiment. And we are just going to scatter these throughout our card design. I'm using an embellishment wand to easily pick them up and pop them in place. Love these looking glass dies. I was really excited to share this video today just because I think they are so amazing and so versatile. So next up, we are going to be creating a beautiful hanging ornaments looking glass card. There are lots of fantastic ornament products in the release. I will tell you that there is a Hero Arts winter or holiday, pardon me, stamp along coming in September. And I will be teaching a live class during that event. You can sign up for that. I will have a link underneath the video here on YouTube if you are interested. And I'm going to be doing a different kind of ornament card in that class. I cannot wait for the event. It's 2 days this time, same price. We've just spread it out to give everybody a little bit more time, and I am thrilled to be participating. But if you love creating all of the holiday products or types of cards and you want to come craft with us, I highly recommend it. So this time I'm using another brand new background. Oh my goodness, you guys, I love this. It's the String Dots bold print. I used it on here because I feel like it kind of has that illusion of the strings of like little bulbs that you can hang around your tree. I personally have some of these, and so for me that's what it was very symbolic of, but this could be used for anything. It's a very nice basic background. It is so beautiful. I did end up stamping this one twice just to get some better coverage, but again, pebble cardstock background with that String Dots bold print. Then I have all of my looking glass dies. I die cut them off camera. I did use the square infinity dies with them again. I used a size smaller than what I used on the deer, just to show you some different widths of the frames you can use. And I am coloring everything in with Copic markers. I've listed all the colors across the screen. I'm really sorry that I'm a little low in the camera here. I did not notice this until I went to edit. I will move it up in a second, so please hang with me. I'm so sorry about that. These two layers are the ornament layers, and then there's another one that kind of has like a little star-ish type of look that doesn't necessarily die cut a window, and that one I'm going to die cut from a square infinity die cut vellum square. So I will show you that when we get to assembling the card. This card is really similar to the first one, just complete different background and then different looking glass dies, and we'll use another sentiment from the Merry Snowmen set. I am using two different color combinations of green. So this green I'm using right now is the same colors I used for the evergreen trees in the first card, YG 93, 95, and 97. My red color combination used throughout is R24, 29, and 39. And my other green color combination, the little bit more brighter green, I guess I want to say, not quite as olive green. It's not bright, but it's the other color, green color combination is G 21, 24, and 28. Then I'm using an assortment of warm gray markers for the hanging strings and the top of the ornaments. When layered together, look how beautiful this is. I absolutely love this. I think it is phenomenal. Now, all of those little areas in the ornaments, these two ornaments over here on the right side, so this one on this layer and then the other one that's the more olive green color, they will pop out. I didn't have any trouble with mine popping out, and I didn't try to get them to pop out because I wanted to retain those and just color them in with the red markers for both of those. But keep that in mind in case they might pop out. You might want to just put like a little piece of tape over the back or something like that, or glue it down in place prior to coloring so that they don't come out. I have one more ornament hanging over here on the left side to color. That's going to be a red and white stripe. For the white stripe, I'm using very light gray markers, warm gray markers, warm gray 00 and just a hint of 3. And then I did get out of the line a little bit, so I'm using a blender trying to push some of that color back into the red area. I think it'll be mostly disguised, so that's okay. Sometimes that just happens. Reds are not very forgiving. Oh, I love it. I think it is so pretty. Here is our background. Here is the sentiment I want to use, and I decided to die cut, see that little star piece, from a vellum square and layer it behind. Again, we are using our large snowflakes and swirls dies in the background. I like where the vellum this time kind of helps mute the background a little bit, really bringing our ornaments into the foreground. So that was a big goal of mine for this particular card because I wanted those ornaments to be the stars of the show. I didn't think it was quite as prominent on the first card as it was on this one, and it just helped. You can still see what's going on in the background, but it really makes these beautiful little ornaments shine. This time I opted to stamp and emboss with silver embossing powder, which I love, and I love in real life, but in video, well, I don't know if it's quite as bad in video, but in the photos, it does not show up. I don't know why, but in real life, I think it's super pretty. But we're going to stamp that with the clear embossing ink. We're using Hero Arts silver embossing powder this time. Now, something I do want to mention real quick, I stamped the background stamps with the pigment ink pigment ink stays wet a little bit longer. You'll notice that I'm stamping my backgrounds first, and then I'm doing all of my coloring and die cutting and all of the other stuff, and then coming back and stamping and embossing my sentiments. That is very much on purpose so that I don't have to heat dry my background. I'm allowing them to air dry before I go and then try to add my embossing powder. If you try to do that right away, your embossing powder might stick to the pigmented areas or the inked areas, and that is a huge mess. I am just adding all my little layers here. I'm using a little double-sided tape for this one. I didn't think my tape runner was quite narrow enough. It really just depends what size frame I'm using for my card, what I end up, using then as my adhesive. I used my tape runner the last time, since the square I used from the Infinity set was a little bit bigger. This one's a little bit smaller, so I am using the double-sided tape. And then I think for my next card, the Snowflakes card, I ended up using liquid glue there. So it's just whatever glue you prefer. Now I want to lay that out. I love that vellum in the background, and figure out my placement for all of my swirls and snowflakes. This time I'm just kind of flip-flopping the way I did those, but one thing I did for both is I'm having one of those swirly ends come up over the edge of the frame. I think it just kind of helps tie it all together really nicely, and I love how these white glittery snowflake and swirl images look against the white inked backgrounds. I think they're just really, really pretty. I hope you guys like them too. I should mention the other glitter combinations. There's a silver and gold pack, and then like a copper and brass. So all super good neutrals, all fantastic for holidays and beyond. I always love a good glitter paper that A, doesn't flake, and B, that die cuts like a dream, because sometimes they can be too thick and they don't die cut great. These, one pass. I was thrilled. I love, love, love the glitter paper, and it's not super thick. So it is going to die cut great, and it doesn't flake off. So it is amazing. Oh, I did put liquid glue on the back of this frame, I see. And then I would just highly recommend maybe putting something heavy like an acrylic block or a book or something on top of this to help hold it down and hold it flat while it dries. You can see I'm not pressing it down quite yet until I get my little swirl there in the bottom left corner. It is coming up over the edge of the frame. I will move that up and you can see. Now I want to finish this card with a little scattering of embellishments. We're going to go a little simpler this time. And just do some of those little snowflake clay accents. But I did put a couple of little crystal prism gems on the ornaments that have that little die cutting section in them, just to kind of help draw your eye in and add some emphasis to those ornaments. And that was really good to notice that I had not glued that snowflake down when I added the little snowflake embellishment. When the glue is all dry, I need to flip this over, trim off anything hanging off the edge of the panel, and then we will adhere this to a white top fold cardstock base. So my next card is going to actually not feature a background stamp. This is the only card of the 4 I'm sharing today that we're going to create a background with a color layering stamp set instead. I tried to use a lot of the new products. I really wanted to show you all of the amazing products. It is a fantastic, fantastic release, and just show you how to use them in some fun ways. So we're going to create these color layering snowflakes using the color or the layering snowflakes stamp set. This is brand new. Now I want to tell you too, you can stamp these snowflake layers on cardstock, and then there's dies for each of them, and you can layer them that way. You can use them individually. These are just amazing. I love them. And I hope when you see them layered that you love them like I do as well. We are going to start with a white pigment ink base. And I'm going to do this first one. Then we're going to use 2 shades of blue Hero Arts reactive inks to create the next 2 layers. I'm also going to be using the little trio of tiny snowflakes that comes in this set, and we are going to stamp little bits of snowflakes around our panel as well, just for added snowflake and, you know, cold little interest to this card. Now this card could be used anytime for winter because I did not use a Christmas or holiday greeting. The greeting I'm using is from the Layering Snowflake set, which is Sending Snowflake Wishes. There's also Happy Winter, You Sparkle, Let It Snow, and a Merry Christmas. So definitely lots of great sentiments in this set. And I forgot to mention, I'm going to walk you through every Hero Arts stamp or die that I used for my cards today. I'm going to show you all of the cards and the products used at the end of the video. The layers I used here, that first layer was Splash Reactive Ink, and then I finished with the 3rd snowflake layer, which is Blue Hawaii. Oh my goodness, you guys, I love, love, love how this looks. I love how it looks stamped against the white pigment ink of the background. I think it just gives you that cold, you know, burr kind of feeling to these snowflake designs. They are really, really fun. And this background would be beautiful as is without anything extra. I am going to go ahead and stamp the rest of these. I wanted to show the step. This is a layering stamp set, by the way, that first of all layers really, really easily. I think it's so easy to line up, and I'm really sorry my head is in the way because I have to get right over the top of it to make sure. And then of course my camera takes a minute to decide to focus back in. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful? I really love this. And then the 3rd layer, and again, my head, I'm sorry. And we will stamp that. Sometimes I stamped it twice. I might have done it every time just to make sure I got good coverage. But what you see is really how it ends up looking, because remember, anything with like pigment ink in it is going to sit more on top of the cardstock and not absorb in like a dye ink. So you end up with these gorgeous, gorgeous snowflakes. And I went ahead and stamped that the smaller snowflakes. There is a little smudge there. I kind of hate that happened, and it happened in an area I couldn't disguise very great, but I just decided to go with it. This is a really good example of sometimes there will be a little mistake, and I just decided that's okay. Those flurries down there in the bottom left corner are not as defined as some of the others. And then I'm just adding a little bit more. We're doing our final layering. I did a trio of the color layering snowflakes, and then I filled in with a few extra white. So these are the Looking Glass Snowflake dies. They are circular. Now I did decide not to do a circle infinity frame. I thought I might, but I opted not to. I do think that would be pretty as well. I'm gonna again use my square infinity dies, and I die cut the circle and then die cut the infinity die around it. I am adding color to my snowflakes to match the colors I used for ink. So my first blue color combination is B34 and 37. My second blue color combination is B05 and 01. These were really, really fast and easy to color. Now this also has a layer in the background that has like some little diamonds. So I will die cut a vellum square using the square die that I used for these Looking Glass images, and then I'm going to die cut the little diamond shapes from that so that I have a vellum layer back behind these little looking glass snowflakes as well, helping just make these looking glass die cut images pop a little bit more so that you're not seeing quite as much of the background. I stamped the Sending Snowflake Wishes using the clear embossing ink and heat embossing with white embossing powder for this one as well. We're going to use the little snowflake accents, and we will also be using some little crystal gemstone accents to finish this card. So I added those first. I've kind of got my layers glued down. I'm going to use a little liquid glue. We're going to pop our looking glass right here. Now I feel like these snowflakes need embellishment quite a bit to just really, you know, bring them to life. So that will be a combination of little snowflakes and little crystal gems. Our final card is the Halloween card, and this one, you guys, uses so much product. I know. It is a lot. So we are going to be using lots of new, but also lots of previously released. So I'm going to talk about previously released first. That is the Hero Lifestyle Forms dies. So this will work with any of your Hero Lifestyle images. There are tons. We're also going to stamp a face on our lifestyle image using the Lifestyle Faces stamp set. I have not used either of these before. I was thrilled to be able to do so. And you guys, there are just so many really great lifestyle dies out there, so you can really build something for everything. I'm excited about that. I'm kind of thinking it might be fun to do a series. Let me know what you think. If you would like to see more of this. I know I used to do like the Julie Nutting paper doll series years and years ago. I kind of think these would be fun because they're sized a little bit more for cards, to do more of a card series with these lifestyle images. Now, so the new product is the Hero Lifestyle Trick or Treat set. Oh my gosh, you guys, I'm doing a witch because I wanted to use the cauldron and things from the Halloween Icons dies, but you guys, you can make a vampire, let's see, there's the ghost. I'm not sure what, I have to be honest, I am not sure what all of this is. I might have to look at it a little bit closer. I think a vampire, witch, and a ghost. I think that's what you can make here. But there's all of the accessories. There's candy. There's like a little candied apple, the broom, the witch's hat, the boots, a little jack-o'-lantern trick-or-treat pumpkin that they can carry. I mean, all of the things. I love this set. I think it is really cute. So I am coloring my dress with some blue violet colors and then a little orange band around the middle. The collar and a bow can be stamped separately, so you can use them with or without. I obviously opted to use them with. I'm going to color her collar the darker purple blue violet shade, and then of course the little bow I'm going to place around the waistband of her dress. You could also use it for hair or whatever, and that's going to be orange. I want her witch's hat to match, so we're going to use the same blue violets for the witch's hat with an orange band around the hat as well. I am loving this. I don't know. This was really fun for me. I talked about this a lot back in the day with the Julie Nutting series, but I really loved paper dolls as a kid. They are hard to find anymore, but I loved them. And so for me, this is kind of reminiscent of that, only you're completely building your own and doing whatever you want. You can color them however you want. I love that. I love that there's faces now and you can really customize the face with that stamp set. So there is my little witch. Let's color in her collar. And again, like I said, I'm going to go much darker with that to give it a little more definition. And cute. Okay, so there is, I'm going to use this so she has long hair. You could also do a short hairstyle, but I really wanted to have lots of hair. So I'm going to use both the kind of the short hair for like the bangs and right around her face, and then we're going to do the curly hair. I'm going to add some skin tone. You can see yes, I sped this up, but I colored fast. Only really her hands, parts of her legs, and her face show. So I didn't worry about being super neat and tidy. And then as soon as I had enough of the skin colored, and I know I did accidentally drag up some black that was on my glass work surface, I forgot to color. My #1 rule is always clean your surface, and I forgot. But luckily her boot will cover that. I'm going to assemble her dress. So I went ahead, colored in her dress, or I guess it's already colored, glued her dress on her form. And then we are going to build the hair. So the short hair is really cute, and I think it could be used with anything. If you've got other sets like the tropical set, like the little luau set or the barbecue set or whatever it is, because there's lots of them, use the hairstyles from any of them. Now, one thing that I did that is probably one of my favorite things of this card is I pulled some green into her hair so that there's a green undertone in all of the black, which is my favorite. I love it. So cute little short hair that's going to be around her face. And then for the curly, like the hair around the back, I am just squiggle lines. And this is an example of something that looks worse before it looks better. So I went in with my dark, my warm gray 8, and then I've got my G24 and I'm squiggling all those lines. There is no real blending here. It is a bunch of squiggly lines over and over until I get the desired result. It's starting to look better. I went to the darkest, to the green, and then worked my way to the lightest gray. And then I'm going back over it with my darker marker to add in more curls. And it's starting to look good. I'm not going to worry too much about anything back behind where her body is. It needs to look good out on the edges. Oh my goodness, how cute! How cute is that? I'm going to color the bow for her dress. I'm not kidding. I had a lot of fun with this. I put it off to the last just for time-wise. I was worried I might not have time to get to it, and I'm so glad I did. But I am excited, and let me know. Drop me a note in the comments. Let me know if you're interested in seeing maybe like a whole series of these lifestyle type of dies from Hero Arts. It won't be in September, but I was thinking we might be able to pull some of that into October and then even November. Because October I will be doing Handmade Holiday this year. That is going to be much earlier than in the past so that I get to that, and we will be doing that in the month of October. And then of course Stamptember is right around the corner, and that, oh my goodness, you guys, I'm so excited. It's going to be so good. All right, little boots in some cool gray tones. I used a combination of cool grays and warm grays. When I put everything together here, I really think you're going to be able to see the difference. I haven't used them together in a lot of cards, but I am thrilled with that now. This is another background. I did not do this on camera just to save time. This is the SWIRL bold print. I love it. It also is super versatile, but I think it kind of gives that spider web, spooky, maybe even a kaleidoscope type of look in the background. I love it. Pebble cardstock again, white pigment ink. I did add some white detail to the highlights for her eyes, to her dress. I added some little buttons, and her face was really important to me. I always say faces are important. You might have seen me messing with the eyebrows, and I ended up not stamping them because I felt like her hair came down far enough, but I probably could have added that. So we are using so many images. The spiderweb, bat, jack-o'-lantern, cat, which I thought worked great with the witch, and cauldron are all from the Halloween Icons dies. I love this. The cool grays were used for the cauldron. So I used the cool grays for her boots, and I'm using cool grays for the cauldron. Warm grays were used for her hair. I generally use warm grays for hair or fur, which you're going to see for the bats and the cat are also going to be warm gray. But the cauldron has that cool undertone to it that matches her boots, and I love that. Now I did remember to wipe up the surface of my table here. And I'm adding a little highlight with my blender. The jack-o'-lantern, we are going to take cool grays and draw in the eyes, nose, and mouth. This also will pop out. If you want to put some Post-it tape or something on the back to hold those in place, you can. I ended up not having to, but that is an option. And then we're just going to color in the jack-o'-lantern. I'm going to be setting my jack-o'-lantern like setting in the cauldron. I wanted to use everything, so I had to be kind of creative with how I assembled this. But I was feeling a little extra when I got to this card, I think. And I love coloring pumpkins. I think you guys know this already about me if you follow me and this isn't your first time. If this is your first time, welcome. I am so glad you're here. But yeah, I love pumpkins. I love fall. And it just fits in there perfectly. I think it's cute and fun. The cauldron, by the way, if you have a smaller Halloween sentiment, I think that would be an awesome spot to add a sentiment right there across the cauldron. For her broom, we're going back to our E40, 43, 44, and 47. We used those on the Looking Glass Deer card, the first card we did today. But I love the little broom. There's just all the accessories. I love it. I can't say enough great things about it. Okay, our cat. The one thing about the cat that I wasn't crazy about is it just has eyes, and I wasn't sure how I was going to love the cat when I was finished, especially because I just took my darkest gray markers and kind of colored in the eyes. They will pop out. Keep that in mind. I think Google eyes would be cute here if you like Google eyes. But one thing I ended up doing, so you'll notice I'll take my dark marker, color in the whiskers, color in the eyes. It just wasn't doing it for me. I took a black glaze pen and added more of a glossy look to the eyes, and it made all of the difference in the world. So I added some little pink cheeks, also a little pink to the insides of the ears, but here's that black glaze pen. I don't know if you can see it so much on camera, but in real life, it is a world of difference. Here are my bats, again, warm gray. Now I am coloring only one of them on camera. I ended up coming back and die cutting another one so that I have two because I felt like we needed two. And then the spider web I just die cut from some white cardstock, and we're gonna hang in the upper right corner of the card. We are almost ready to assemble. I don't believe, at least in the product I got, I didn't have any brand new Halloween sentiments, so I'm sorry about that. But I just went back to an older hero, well, not older, it was last year's release, a color layering Moonlit night set, and we're going to use Your Wicked Cool and stamp that on our card. Every time there is a sentiment that says Wicked, it makes me think of Jen Shirkus. I don't know why, it always does, because she always says that in like her posts and things, and so I always think it's really fun. But I think it's the perfect sentiment for this card, and we are just going to pop all of our fun little images together and build our scene. So basically now it is simply assembly. We have all of our coloring done. For even faster creation, you guys, you can die cut your images from colorful cardstock. You could even die cut them from colorful cardstock and add shading with your Copic markers and not start from scratch with the white cardstock. I really wanted to show how easy it is. I literally put all of these dies on one sheet of cardstock and ran them through my die cutting machine at once to save time. And then I was able to simply color and put them together. I look at it a lot like no-line coloring stamped images as far as the coloring goes. The great thing is that they have a border and you don't have to be super precise with coloring. And there is a good example of the warm grays of the cat with the cool tones and the cool grays of the cauldron right next to each other, and what a difference that makes. So here is a look at all 4 finished cards that I made. And here we're going to walk through all of the products. So this is the season's greeting card with that Looking Glass Winter Forest. I also used the square infinity dies from Hero Arts. large snowflakes and swirls in the background, the Merry Snowmen greeting, the season's greeting sentiment, and then the etched winter swirls bold print for the background of our card. For our Merry Christmas looking glass ornaments, we used the Looking Glass Ornaments dies. We used the large snowflakes and swirls dies in the background again. We used the square infinity dies from Hero Arts and this really pretty string dots bold print. For the snowflake background card, again, square infinity dies were used with the Looking Glass snowflake. The layering snowflake stamp set was used for the background. And then for our Halloween card, we have so many products, I know. We have our, first let's start with our background, which is the swirl bold print. Our sentiment is from the color layering Moonlit Night. Then we have the Lifestyle Forms Fancy die, that's kind of the basic, and the Hero Lifestyle Faces, also a nice basic. The Cauldron, Pumpkin, Cat, Bat, and Web are from the Icon, Halloween Icon die set. And then we have our Hero Lifestyle Trick or Treat set for all of the fun Halloween images. Thank you guys so much for joining me today for this set of 4 cards featuring brand new Hero Arts Holiday 2021 products. The supplies I used are listed and linked below the video here on YouTube. Here is another video featuring Hero Arts that you might be interested in. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel and hit that notification bell to never miss a new card making video. Thank you so much for joining me today, and we'll see you next time.